that allow to do a lot of functions. One of them is extracting the X, Y, and Z. We will extract them into Excel sheet. This is the graph that allowed me to extract the X, Y, and Z, the location of each of the spaces. It contains of these 4 stages. The first one is we have to define what element we want to extract, the X, Y, and Z. So for the rooms, for the doors, for a specific element like windows or furniture. So we have to define it here in the select type in the first square. After that, we have to define the rooms. In this area, we have to define a specific attribute that we want to extract from the tables of Revit. So we can, at the end, we can have a complete table that link between the room number and the X, Y, and Z, which is the coordinate system, in the Excel sheet. This is the result of using the graph of Dynamo. We will have everything, and we will have the X, Y, and Z for each of the spaces. By having the enriched 3D model, and after we extracted the X, Y, and Z, the location of each of the spaces, we decided that we will use the PostgreSQL, which is one of the most advanced open source database. We will need to create 4 different tables. The first one is the node, which has all the information about the node, like the node ID, the room name, the user functions, the type, the area, the level, all the information that we can use from the facility management. And after that, we have the edge, which is the ID of the edge, the node from, and node to. And this information comes from the door table that we extracted from Revit. After that, we have to define a table for the party, for the users, and it includes the BID, the party ID, the name of the party, and the type. And last is the right table, which has the party ID, the node ID, and the type of the rights, and the time, start access time and the end access time. In the beginning, we have created, as I described before, the node table. It includes all the facility management information for the spaces and also the X, Y, and Z. After we create this table, we can create the edge table. In the beginning, it will include only the ID, the node from, and node to. And because we have the X, Y, and Z information for each of the spaces, we can now create the edges between the spaces from the node from to node to. And for example, this is one of the edges, and we can, by having this edge, we can create the length, which is the cost, the length of this edge. And after that, we have to add 2 additional columns, the source and target, which is these 2 columns are related to the pgRouting, which is an extension that can be used in the database to create to define the shortest path or the route, the indoor navigation route for the users. After this step, we needed to create the party table. The party table, as I described, it has all the information about the users. So for our experiment, we have defined this table with 3 different types of users: students, staff, maintenance, and visitors. And after by having this table, we can define the right table, which will include all the nodes that each of these users or party can access. So it has like for user number 1, we have the PID for user number 1, all the nodes for all the nodes that can be accessed by user 1, and the type of access, and from which time to which time. After that, we have created a view for the node for each of the users. We have created this node, this view to for better maintaining of the database. because will give us the cost of creating this view is much smaller than creating a table. So we have created the node, and also we have created the edge view for each of these users. By having these views, we decided that we are going to use the Dijkstra algorithm to compute the shortest path. And here, this is the function of the Dijkstra algorithm. We have defined the same node view and the edge view, and to specify the starting point and the end point for the user. This is the result of one by computing the shortest path. It will give us all the segment, the path segment. For example, here we have 15 segment from the starting point to the end point. The next step is right now is to build our web-based application. So for the end user, we have decided that we are going to use Cesium. To do that, the work will start with the FME. We have the BIM model. The FME will be used to convert this BIM model into the database, and after that, we will use the same model will be used by FME to create the 3D tiles through the web server to the Cesium web-based. The communication between the Cesium and the database to define or to extract all this information about the access right, it will be through the geo server and the web server also. At the end, this is an example for one of the staff. The staff wants to move, navigate from the west side of the building in the first floor, room number 0110, to the second floor in the west side, also for 0110. And this is an example of the route that based on the access right of the user. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Abdullah. Are there any questions at this moment?
Yeah, Peter, I have a question.
That's what, please go ahead.
Okay, Abdullah, thank you for your presentation. Really very informative. I think also for the students now attending this meeting. You did not discuss the application. I think it's quite known that it is for emergency response. But did you also thought about the application nowadays, which is really important to have access rights in case for Corona? Of course, nowadays each and any room can be only occupied by a certain amount of people. Maybe also certain corridors are not allowed to enter for certain people. So it's not that difficult to make your application more prominent or even more important if you link that to these days some kind of restrictions to use buildings.
Of course, yes. Because we have the party information, and we can define all the spaces that the party can enter. So if we updated this tables, if we updated the views, actually, we can define which space that can be accessed by the user. So every time we need to update this the node view and the edge view based on the user. So, for example, if we have one space that is not allowed to be entered by a student, in the normal situation, the student will be able to enter, but because of Corona, we decided that student will not be able to enter. We only need to define to update the access the right table and change the access type for not access. So it's a matter of information. If we have the information, we can update our tables based on the condition of the spaces. So it could be implemented here. Yes.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Other questions? Could you give a live demo? Would you dare to do so?
Oh, wait a second. I think I lost. Wait. 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 Maybe I think the link is here because I don't have it. Yeah, I think this one. No. Wait. Oh,
Maybe in the meantime, other questions. I think I found the link, by the way.
if you can share it with me.
I'll share it via the Zoom, yeah.
I think this one.
Right.
I hope it. No, it's not this one.
I put it in the
Okay.
in the chat.
Okay. Where is that?
I can.
Okay. Wait. Chat. I think this is.
Good.
Yes. Okay. So this is our building in Cesium. So in the beginning, if we want, we can check all the allowed spaces for the staff and the student. Like, for example, this is all the allowed spaces for the staff right now. This model is not complete yet, so we need to update it and work on it. But for a student, for example, this is only the spaces right now the student has have access to it. So if we want, like, for the staff, we can. Okay, let's wait. I need to write it. So from this space, oh wait, mistake. 0 to another space like this one, just for visualization. So this is the route right now. Well, I have an issue with this. Okay. So from the second floor to the first floor, from this side to the middle side of the building, to the center of the building, this is the access. This is the spaces that the staff member can be accessed during the navigation from the first space to the second space.
Okay, thanks.
And of course, if we change it for a student, for example, right now we will not have. We will not have. Okay. Also, the student has the same access right. So that means the space the student has in the database has the same access. But if we change that to another we'll check. Okay, in this case, we don't have a route. That means the destination or the endpoint, the student doesn't have a right to enter. So there is no navigation path completely for the student. And this is another example that, okay, we don't have the right, or we don't have the navigation path because the student doesn't have the access right. However, if we change it to a staff, because the staff members have more accessibility or access right. So we will have it. It should be there. Oh, as I told, this is not a complete version of the model. So yes. So I hope that the work with Edward in his project, we will have a better 3D model for our web-based application by using the ArcGIS.
And you said the model is not complete. What is missing in the model?
Right now, the database has to be updated to reflect the 10 type of users that we have defined. For
Okay,
some
the
reasons,
visitors also and
yeah.
maintenance staff, these
Yes.
kind of things. Yeah.
Yes.
Are there other questions?
May I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for your presentation. It's really interesting to me. I have a couple of questions. Let me start with a simple one. This is the first time I see a full BIM model of the faculty, even though I had heard that it existed. Is it something that you have made by yourself, or?
Yeah. In 2017, there was one student from Greece, and we worked together to create this 3D model.
Okay.
And we have right now we have a very enriched 3D model for our faculty that has all the information that we have received from the facility management. We have included in that 3D model.
Very nice. And I suppose you have some plans for publishing that as a data set on its own?
Yes, of course. If you want,
So,
like.
That would be great to know. I will be looking forward to working with it. And the other question is, how happy are you with the architecture? Because you just mentioned that you are thinking of alternatives for the web application side of this.
No. It's not. I'm not happy with the Cesium. No, I am very happy, but we need to work more on it to update the database because we could not complete the 3D model, the web-based application on time. But we are going to work on it in the future and to finish it.
Okay. So for a moment, I thought you were going to abandon Cesium and go for.
No. Okay. But because Edward has another project right now with some student that they are going to use ArcGIS for to define the indoor navigation. So I hope that they will have a complete database right now in the coming months. They will have a full web-based application that working without any issues. So okay, this is the 3D model that we have built. Okay, the view. So this is the 3D model. So it has everything that we did our best to reflect all elements, the doors, the walls, the windows, everything. And if we go right now and we select one of these spaces, for example, the entrance, so we will have all the information about the entrance here. And also in the schedule. So this is the room schedule. So we have everything that we need here for each of the spaces. So do you want to see some specific things that I can present? It's
this is great. I mean, I was thinking of maybe asking you about what you have in mind for the use cases in which this can be used. Maybe other than just route planning, it can also be used for room scheduling or facility management in general. So
yes, of course. Yeah, because we already have all the information about the spaces. It could be used for any other application, facility management, maintenance, anything can be linked to this 3D model.
Yeah. And I also had one specific question if about pathfinding, if there's time, maybe I can ask you that. You mentioned that you make the network model. You first create the edges as lines, and you use pgRouting to construct the network model.
Yes.
Is that correct? And
Yes.
then after that, you use the Dijkstra algorithm, if I'm mistaken, not?
Yes.
And you use the edge lengths as weights. Is that correct?
I use what at the end? What
The edge lengths as weights.
Oh, yes. The cost, as a cost.
Yeah, as a cost, yeah.
As a cost, yes.
And do you also have the elevators and access to elevators in your model?
Yes.
Okay, so I was wondering if you are also in some other places using other things rather than edge length as the cost, such as, turning costs.
No.
No. So
we didn't.
Dijkstra algorithm built on a network that has edge length as the cost.
Yes.
And then when it comes to elevators, how do you deal with them?
It's just a vertical line. It connect all the nodes because in each of the floors there is a space. Like if we have the elevator will stop in from the ground floor or from the basement. This is the first node to the ground. This is second node, and the first. This is second, and after that the third or the fourth to the second.
So you treat those vertical lines in the same way that you treat the other lines. Okay.
Yes, of course.
And
Pirous, I think now the cost has been defined as the edge length, but you can define anything you want yourself. So if you have other wishes for cost, you just define it. So in the early SQL script, Abdullah showed how the length was used as cost, but you can assign another thing as cost.
Well, in fact, I don't know if it's proper to put it like, but I wanted to actually make a small advertisement for an algorithm that I've made before, easy at paths, which also takes into account the turning costs. So maybe you can look it up and
I agree. That there could be other things included in the cost function, turning
there will be challenges, of course, but especially the elevator. But one more maybe detailed question, if there's time, Peter.
Sure.
Yeah. When you are making use of the pgRouting, I know that it takes care of many inconsistencies with the geometric inputs to make a valid topology of the model. But how accurate was the input of the pgRouting? So were the lines perfectly matching at the intersections, etc.? Did you experience some particular challenges in that domain?
In the beginning, pgRouting doesn't support 3D geometry. Like geometry has the Z value. Okay, so instead of using or creating the topology by using pgRouting, I created by defining my topology by myself from Revit, because Revit give me this information from from space to door, from door to space. So that means I have the topology already. So I did not use I didn't create the topology by using pgRouting to create a 3D geometry, a 3D vertical lines. So that because I experience a lot of issues, I face a lot of issues to create the topology using pgRouting. But by having this, by using this method, that I create the topology by myself directly from Revit without, I didn't spend a lot of time. It just from Revit directly, as I can show you here. Okay, here we will have, the mark is the door ID. Okay, I can try. Okay, the mark is the door ID. Okay, and we have from room name. This is from which room? So this door number 3 is linking between room number 3, this room, and this room, so that I have the information. So I just have to play with the structure of this file. And this is only take 2 minutes to do it. But if you are going to create the topology using pgRouting, you will have it only in the 2D. You will not be able to create it in the 3D. And if you want to test if you have all the nodes connected to the edges, there is another function in pgRouting called analysis graph, I believe. Analysis the graph or analysis graph. This function will give you, will test if there any gap between the, or disconnect between the edges and the node. And when I tested, I had no issue at all. 100% connected the graph.
Yeah, maybe good to mention that you initially tried the tool of pgRouting to create the graph, and then discovered that it was only looking at the X and the Y information and not at the Z. And then say the floors were kind of mixed.
Yes.
And therefore you used your own network topology. And but it was no problem for pgRouting to use that network and do the computation.
But as a conclusion, so you use the semantic data to infer the topology, the semantic data that was coming from the survey and the facility management files, right?
From the facility management, I had the room numbers and the doors names and the doors number.
Yourself.
This has come directly from Revit, because during the creation of the 3D model, before you define or create the first door, if you give it a name like D1, Revit will continue give it a number D2, D3, D4, D5. So I will have all the semantic for the doors ready for me. Right. So at the end, because I have the room name, this comes from the facility management, and I have the semantic about the door. So it's very easy to say, okay, from which I ask Revit, please create a table to give me all the information about the connectivity, which is in the door, in the door table. It was straightforward solution, actually.
But could it be wrong that there were errors in the table?
If look, usually there will not, you will not find any error, because what I say, as I mentioned before, let's go here. This door number 3, it's between these two spaces, this space and this space. So you will not have any error, because Revit will say, okay, this door is located between these two spaces, and it will give me that this information.
So this was computed by Revit based on the geometry. Okay, then it should not be wrong then. Yeah.
Yes, but if you change the door name, or if you deleted one of the doors and build it again, sometimes could be an issue. But if you build that the 3D model and you avoid to make any mistake, I think it will be correct all the time without any issues.
Are there any other questions?
Abdullah, I have a question about the system architecture diagram, in which you explained that the 3D model that is coming from Revit is both loaded into the Postgres database and also converted to batched 3D files.
Yes.
Could you imagine also that it would be, well, say possible to have GeoServer create batched 3DM files for you on the fly? So instead of having to manually convert the 3D geometry, because in a way in your Postgres database, you have created a table with all the rooms with their names. And maybe you could also store a solid geometry in the table in a specific column of that, and then just have a GeoServer serve out this 3D geometry. like what is similar to web feature servers, that you get 2D geometry out of it. Are you aware of GeoServer already supporting 3D solids, that you can directly get them from there, which would save you at least the separate step of creating 3DM files? And another question in that sense, what would be a downside, or what is the advantage of doing it this way? Could you reflect a little bit on that?
Okay. Okay. As you know, my background is I am an architect, so I really don't have a good background on this kind of topic about the GeoServer, the web-based applications. So I'm not sure if I don't know any GeoServer that will support this kind of work. But I think it's a nice topic that can be investigated in the future. That instead of having if using the FME to convert the same 3D model into the database and the web-based application, we can only store everything directly from BIM to the database, and the database will communicate with the web-based application. Yes, I think it's better because I think that will, I don't know, but maybe it will make it faster. I believe that, but I'm not sure.
Would also be good for the consistency, that you have everything together, maintain it well.
Yes.
Okay,
but I want to say
very much, Abdullah, for the answer.
Thank you. You're welcome. But I want to say something. I already in another database in PostgreSQL, I already have the 3D model of the building in the database. But in this case, because we decided during the work that we are going to use FME to create the 3D tiles, I did not include it in the database. But I already stored the database, the 3D geometry of the building in the database.
Good future work topic to see if we can also use that 3D geometry.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it should be possible to create also a table where you store the information about which object goes into which tile, and then have a GeoServer component that would retrieve that and send it either in the format that B3DM is, or some different way. But okay, yeah, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Martijn. Other questions? I think we are running a bit out of time.
Can I ask one more question?
Bruce, please go ahead. Yeah.
I took a lot of time. But now that Martijn mentioned this slide, maybe if I can ask one more question about this communication of geometry. Did you consider maybe, I mean, I'm a big fan of FME, but I think it solves many problems in many occasions. But in this case, did you consider maybe communicating directly with the Postgres from within Dynamo using Python or C# with the ODBC connector, directly putting in the geometry, a simplified version of the geometry into the database?
Yeah, I saw some examples. Some people, they are doing that. They are connecting the database through Dynamo, but I didn't test it because I in the beginning I used FME and I found it it's an easy solution that doesn't require any programming language. Yeah, I don't because I don't have that background in computer science. So I use FME, but I think it's a good solution that if we can connect Revit through Dynamo to the database, that will save a lot of time. Instead of every time we change something, I have to convert it again to IFC, and from IFC to the FME, and FME to the database. So I think it's going to be a better solution.
Right. Okay. Maybe one question to you, Peter. Considering all the experience with this, I'm a big fan of Postgres. even considering the limitations with 3D, which are work in progress, would you still recommend it as the best geodatabase management system?
Okay, mute. Oh. I think Postgres is a very strong database. I think the best would be Oracle Spatial. It has more functionality, but they are close, and I think they're comparable to other like ArcGIS and QGIS. They are very close. But if you would ask me what is the best, I would think that Oracle Spatial would be still having a bit more functionality, a bit more robust. But okay, not a big difference. And if I had to take a decision, I usually would choose PostgIS and then PostgreSQL, more practical and easier to install. Okay, sorry for the docs interrupting at the last moment. If there are no more other urgent questions, I would like to thank Abdullah for his very informative presentation. I forgot to push the record button in the beginning. I pushed it halfway, so we have half of the presentation, but all the slides will also be included on the Giste wiki. So also thanks for the audience for the questions. Wish you a good afternoon. Shivan?
Well, yes, sorry, Peter. I wanted to ask Abdullah to share his email because I had some technical detailed questions, which I think it would be better if I asked them over the email. If you can just type it in the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, okay. You can type your email yourself. That's maybe the easiest thing. And yeah, it's nice to know that there is this nice model of the building, and it's really open for sharing. It's quite rich, has a good structure, and it was amazing that such a model was not available.
I had only heard that it is available, but I had never seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah, Abdullah made it together with the Greek students by hand. So it's really a lot of manual labor. And, okay, there is the.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, then. Everybody have a good afternoon. Goodbye.
Thank you for attending.